On both sides of the Atlantic, the bottled water industry has capitalized on the themes of taste and purity to promote their brands. But they deny that the tap is their enemy.
We don't see tap water as our competitor. But if we're going to talk about tap water, it comes without a package, comes through miles of pipes, generally is chlorinated, and while safe, people may not like the taste and they may not want the chemicals. So the products I see are being very different. Now, some people want to say there's not enough difference to justify having this as a category, but consumers make that decision every day.
The argument of the industry, of course, is that they're simply satisfying a need. They're meeting a demand, that the public demands bottled water, and if the public didn't demand it, then they wouldn't make that product. And that's partly true, but demand is manufactured for things, and demand is manufactured for bottled water.
Water is a kind of blank canvas for the marketer. You can put almost anything into it. So water can be exotic, it can be sexy, it can be male, it can be female, it can be old or young, it can be almost anything that you want. So in that sense, water is a wonderful protean subject rather than something that's limiting, because it doesn't have properties to get in the way.
Keep your body at its peak.
In the late 1980s, the French brand Evian recognized the growing health and fitness trend and exploited it to the full.
Evian was sold as a beautiful person's drink. The early Evian ads featured absolutely gorgeous people working out or just after working out in their skin-tight, sweaty clothes, and so it was a way of saying, if you want to be fit, if you want to be healthy, if you want to be attractive, drink Evian. And by drinking Evian, you will be those things.
And more. Bottled water, following the Evian lead, became the indispensable prop of gym life, while hydration became the buzzword. Pure, clean bottled water now symbolized the healthy life we were all encouraged to lead. And as bottles of water became a part of our everyday shopping list, the World Health Organization gave the industry a gift from heaven.
The World Health Report was the first public document showing that drinking water is very important and was a key contributing factor into starting the health trend and helping bottled water businesses increase its growth.
What the World Health Report estimated was that it was normal for men and women to drink approximately 2 liters of water a day. A variation on these estimates then became guidelines that are still used to this day.
When we see recommendations which say you should drink 1 or 2 litres of water a day, it's important to remember that that includes all the water that comes in food and indeed the water that we get in drinks other than pure water. So the water that's in tea and coffee, even the water that's in sugary drinks, is all going to count towards that overall target.
To make the guidelines more palatable, they were turned into the easy-to-remember mantra of 8 glasses a day.
Many bottled water producers took the guidelines and translated them into the rather simpler 8 glasses a day message, which they hoped would have the same sort of weight as the 5 fruit and vegetable portions a day message from government guidelines, so that really consumers had an easy reference point for healthy hydration.
But whether these 8 glasses should be consumed tap or the bottle was left open to question by everyone except the bottled water industry.
The bottled water companies have capitalized on that notion that you needed 8 cups of water a day very aggressively. They've used that as a way of saying not just that you probably might need 8 glasses of water a day to be healthy, but if you're going to drink 8 glasses a day, you might as well drink the best water. And so they've used it as an edge to take a dig at tap water.
Linking a healthy life with the drinking of bottled water has become the key marketing strategy in the industry's armory.
Your life. La vida fluye en familia.
Most recently, Evian's sister brand Volvic, also owned by the multinational Danone, has targeted the message at a group that they felt were not listening. They were called men.
Ce qu'on a voulu faire, c'est faire comprendre au consommateur qu'il est très important pour lui de renouveler l'eau de son corps. Même si vous n'avez pas soif, vous devez boire. Vous devez régénérer. Vous devez changer l'eau que vous avez dans votre corps. Donc c'est une expression marketing pour expliquer une vraie réalité médicale.
Volvic's drinking challenge worked, and in the UK alone, sales of Volvic increased by over 25% over the period of the promotion. New consumers flocked to the brand, and some of them were men. The link between bottled water and the health and wellness movement was a marriage made in heaven. Between 1990 and the turn of the century, global sales doubled from 50 billion to over 100 billion litres a year. With growth of over 10%, the two old veterans of the beverage industry, Coke and Pepsi, looked on, green with envy. Both saw a future market there for the taking.
One of the great things about global companies is they see an opportunity and they take it. Pepsi was able to say, hey, if there's a new trend emerging, I can maybe get a leg up on the competition if I understand that trend and I develop brands faster in the non-carbonated space. And so Pepsi viewed that to be a potential for it to get a competitive, broader, more diverse portfolio to improve its position relative to Coke.
Coke and Pepsi's age-old route to go into overdrive.
It's like the cola war. One company jumps into one area, the other one will follow. Neither of them want to give the other one an advantage. If you look at their product lines, they match up head to head in every beverage category, package size, from vending to fountain. These are great beverage warriors, and they're not about to give an open playing field to their competitor.
Fueling Coke and Pepsi's determination to enter the water market was their own falling market share. With the increasing concerns about obesity, both Coke and Pepsi recognize a consumer demand for healthy alternatives to their own lucrative sugar-filled fizzy drinks.
Well, if you did any kind of consumer survey and looked at what people drank, the number one category is water. And then if you talked to any consumers about what they liked about water, they liked that it was healthy for them. And then I think the growth of water was a recognition that here's something everybody drinks.
And so Pepsi launched a new purified water brand that they called Aquafina. Sugar-free, calorie-free, and additive-free. Aquafina was the healthful beverage the American consumer was demanding. At the same time, Pepsi with a head start on their rivals at Coke. They targeted Aquafina at the American consumer. This was no funny foreign water.
Evian and Perrier existed because they were European brands brought over the United States, higher priced, perceived to be part of a rich and famous lifestyle, very elite. And we thought the opportunity was to create a water that wasn't elite, that was the antithesis of that was mainstream, popular, fun-loving. You could say we were democratizing a European specialty product. You could also say that we were creating an American product.
And Pepsi's new water brand was exactly what the American consumer was asking for. 2 years after launch, it was selling 140 million litres per annum. 2 years later, that figure had tripled. But Pepsi wanted more.
We said, hey, we want people to talk about Aquafina as much as they're talking about Pepsi. So give us a campaign, and you know what? We want to put it on prime time. We want to put it on some of the big sports shows. We want to give it the status and the profile that soft drinks have traditionally had. So our strategy was very much to emulate what had built successful brands in the past, but to do it with water and to do it with a sense of fun and healthiness.
And Pepsi's winning strategy was further enhanced by their formidable distribution network. Aquafina was pushed into every US market available and soon became America's #1 brand.
When you have a great cannon, like their bottling system, you fire it. And when you have it firing on all pistons, that means they have thousands of delivery trucks, thousands of salesmen, thousands of busy coolers, thousands of vending machines, so they could catch up rather quickly.
Coca-Cola, unused to being beaten by their longtime rival, then launched their water brand. They called it Dasani. Like Aquafina, Dasani was a purified water using local water sources. But where Aquafina had targeted the mainstream, Dasani saw its market primarily with the female of the species.
We primarily targeted women. Women were 70% of the entire bottled water market, primarily 25 to 39 years old, living in cities and working independent women that had a very hectic life, and for this reason wanted to have their life simplified.
But simplicity was not enough for Coke's Dasani, and they decided to steal a march on Pepsi by breaking the European market. This was to be one of the worst decisions the Coca-Cola Corporation ever made.
The mighty Coca-Cola Corporation saw Britain as a wide open market for water, and if that market could be persuaded to drink that water, Coca-Cola then thought, OK, we've got the limeys, now we'll push on into Europe, and even the Europeans will be drinking Coca-Cola water.
In February 2004, Dasani was launched in the UK with a proposed tagline of urban water for the fast-living generation.
Dasani involves a state-of-the-art purification process which makes the water clean and safe, and then we add minerals to add a pleasant taste. We were very candid about this when we launched the brand in the media.
But what Coke was less open about was the source of Dasani water. It was Thames tap water, purified in their Sidcup factory in Kent.
The water industry has criticised Coca-Cola for promoting a new bottled water that's purified from the tap. Selling at 95p a bottle, Dasani has been launched across Britain. The company says the water goes through a rigorous filtering and is as pure as water can get.
It became clear that they were bottling tap water, and quite correctly there was an uproar, and the media had an absolute heyday with this, because people in Britain were just very, very annoyed and angry and just sort of felt that it was a con.
While American consumers had never questioned purified water, in Britain, many thought that selling tap was a step too far. But the source of Dasani water was only the first chapter in Dasani's fall from grace.
What happened next was quite extraordinary. As if things weren't going badly enough for the Coca-Cola Corporation with its new Dasani brand, it was discovered that there was bromate in the water.
Coca-Cola is recalling its entire range of 500,000 bottles of Dasani bottled water from the British market, after levels of the chemical bromate were found to exceed legal levels.
Now, bromate is a naturally occurring substance, but it's carcinogenic. And the worst thing of all is that it didn't have to be there, because it's a byproduct of the calcium chloride that the Coca-Cola Corporation was mixing with the Sidcup water to create this wonderful Dasani. So it really was truly an own goal.